Hi, morning traders. Welcome to another session of Market Snapshot. This is Robert, and hopefully, we are all geared up for the opportunities. But then again, as a trader, you need to know that trading requires a lot of facets, sentimentally, fundamentally, and even technically. So we'll be looking at the fundamentals first because we really need to look at the economic events that could potentially affect your positions, right? And so let's have a look at forexfactory.com /calendar and look at the key economic events that will be coming out, and we're interested in the red folders, right? Because these are the high impact news. So all day we'll be having the World Economic Forum. This is a meeting of finance heads, central bankers, prime ministers, trade ministers, business leaders. They get to talk about the economy and the projections on where we are headed. And we've seen like the Canadian Prime Minister talking about a new world order being created and all that, right? But then that doesn't have so much of an impact on the trades. However, later in the afternoon at 4:30, President Trump will be speaking. We could experience some volatility, right, at Davos. And so what he says could have an impact. Like, we've seen what he did with the tariffs on the European nations that were against Greenland. And then also we've seen him come in hard. He's still pushing, right, on regards to the tariffs with other countries. So let's see how that plays out. This speech could lead to some volatility. And so our work as traders to make sure that you're protecting yourself, make sure that you're observing risk management so that you're not caught on the wrong side of the market, right? So these are the times where you really need to be cautious because you really need to do something called capital preservation, that you're protecting your capital from ruin. And that means if there are trades you're not supposed to enter, stay away. If that means you'll need to reduce your risk exposure, that means you'll need to reduce your lot size, that's something that you should do, because failure to do that will be impactful, right? These are the times not to use a mental stop loss. These are the times to use a physical stop loss so that you're minimizing your losses so that you can have some capital to trade next time, right? So those are the key things that we'll want to discuss now that you're into some bit of volatility today. And so I think we don't have any major news playing out, but we've seen the dollar weakening courtesy of everything that is happening. Everyone is looking at that uncertainty of the US, right? Everyone, dollar was at one point in time a safe haven because of that certainty, like everyone knew what's playing out. But right now under Trump, we've seen tariffs being hit left, right, and center. Military moves playing out. Venezuela, we saw what happened. So with that uncertainty, most investors don't like it, right? So what do? They move their money from the US, right? Even in terms of bonds, bills, everyone is looking at the debt issue in the US and they're like, okay, what's really playing out here? And so some, like we've seen some European nations saying, hey, they're withdrawing their bonds, like they'll no longer be purchasing US bonds. And you see, anytime there's a purchase of bonds, there's a demand for the dollar, right? Everyone wants to buy that bond. But what happens when people are not buying bonds? How will the US government eventually support its budget, right? So those are the fundamental issues that we believe we'll be looking at as we move into 20, as we move on in 2026, because we are going to navigate a lot of these issues. Of course, Trump has a way out. Let's just see how that plays out. So without having much of fundamentals, right? No more red folders. Let's go to our technicals, and I will be looking at my MetaTrader 5 to have a clear understanding of where the markets are going. So let's have a look at some projections. Yesterday we were looking at some moves on GBP USD, right? I had anticipated that GBP USD will probably hit this high or this one and then take on a bearish move and then a continuation of the bullish move in line with the weak dollar. So let's now reanalyze this. So we go to higher time frames because we really need to see what's playing out. So if I were to look for opportunities on GBP/USD, probably I would want to see GBP/USD before continuing with the bullish move. And the target on higher time frames could be this one, 35.69, which is the monthly high. This was the high that was set up sometime this month, right? So that's an area with potential sellers that we'll be looking at. And so we come down to the daily chart, H4. H1. So if you come to H1, I would be interested to see whether GBP USD will test yesterday's low. Yeah, this is an area of interest for me, or even this order block. All right, this is a bullish order block, the last bearish candle before a move up that broke structure. So that's an area I would want to see GBP USD test before continuing with that bullish move. So my play on GBP USD will be a bearish move, maybe to even the moving average, the 800. Then from there, that's when I would probably now look for a bullish move. My take profit one would probably be this one, yesterday's high. My other area will now be this one as a swing trade. So that is what I'll be looking at on GBP. That is 35.66, right? Yeah, that 567. So that will be my educational play on GBP USD. Let's have a look at UT 100. So yesterday we were looking at bearish opportunities on UT 100. I still maintain that analysis, and so let's map it out. Go to higher time frames. Last month's low is an area of interest for me on UT 100, right? But there's something that we really need to discuss, and that's the gap that was formed on Monday when the markets opened. This gap will need to be filled, right? So let's see what could possibly happen. So I would anticipate to see a bearish move on UT 100 to that last month's low. Alternatively, UT 100 could hit the 800 EMA before continuing with the bullish move. And this is where now this gap from Monday will be filled. Yeah, so that will be my projection on UT 100. So what happens is you really need to look at the confirmations. Those who've attended our classes, we all know the confirmations we look at, that the RSI is an important tool when it comes to confirmations. And then also the candlestick patterns. What do you want to see? Bullish engulfing. What do you want to see? A hammer, bullish tweezers, or even a morning star. Those are the candlestick patterns. Once they present themselves at these lows, and that becomes a high probability buy trade on UT 100. Then we have USD CHF. So yesterday we were looking at that possible opportunity on USD CHF. We had projected that once we hit this low, then we could encounter some buyers. So you can see a bit of breach on that low. So let's reanalyze USD CHF. So go to higher time frames. So if we go to higher time frames, one area of interest will be this one, last month's low. That's a possible area on USD CHF. Remember, we've looked at a weak dollar. So let's see on H1. On H1, probably a move to this moving average. Yeah, probably that move to the moving average could act as some bit of some resistance. Then from there, we could see a bearish move to last month's low. So that bullish push, and probably from there we could see that 70 pips drop. Then we have gold. Gold has been hitting all-time highs. As long as there's that uncertainty, especially now as we go into Davos, we don't know what Trump will be saying. So with that, then I'm still looking at a strong gold because of that uncertainty. Pretty working out as a safe haven. Right, investors really don't want to see this noise, and for them, it's all about securing their money. They would rather deal with precious metals, gold, silver. So I'm still bullish on gold. Let's look at USD JPY. So yesterday we were looking at some analysis on this one from Monday. Actually, from Monday we had projected a bullish USD JPY to this high, and then a bearish move. So we can see price actually came to a target area, and there was a bearish move. In our class yesterday, I actually recommended that one of the exit areas will be the Asian low, right? And we can see that Asian low was actually tested. Then there was that bullish move. So let's analyze this again. What will be the projection on USD JPY? Remember, based on what's happening in Japan, the yen is still weak, big time, right? We've seen the bond market doing things it's never done for 40 years. So that means that's a huge challenge with regards to the yen. So I'll be looking at a sell. That is one area on H4. The other one, sorry, on the daily, on H4, I'm looking at this order block. This is a bullish order block, the last bearish candle before I move up that broke this structure. This is an area where I would anticipate some buyers. So this becomes a possible exit. In terms of entries, we now need to fine tune this. Probably if USD JPY was to test today's Asian high, then I would now project a possible sell on USD JPY. NZD USD. Yesterday, this was the analysis. We had anticipated that we should see some bullish move to this high, and the target was last month's high. Yeah, this last month's high is an area with some strong sellers, but then we could probably see that bearish move and then bullish move. Has it pinned it? Not yet. Yeah, so I'm still going to stay on this analysis on NZD USD. Let me show you. Let me map it out. So the goal was to test last month's high. That one. We are yet to hit it. So that's an area with strong sellers. So once we get there, there could also be another block up here. We could see it breach almost 58.55, 58.53, yeah, 58.50. Those are the three areas that NZD USD could be coming to. Then from there, we could probably see some bearish move. One interesting area will be that one, the Asian low, and also yesterday's low. This one. Those are key areas on NZD USD. Actually, let's work with the 800 EMA, this one. It's more solid. Yeah, I can see another block here that could be tested. So there's a high likelihood that if we get here, we could see some move, either that or that 55 pips move. But then after we get to that area, we should see a continuation of the bullish move on NZD USD. So day trading, that is what I would want to see. Bitcoin, yesterday we were looking at a sell on it from Monday. That was the outlook. We had targeted two take profit areas. This one. There's also another one. There's an area here. Yes, on this moving average. This was also a key area on Bitcoin. But you can see this order block is what was tested, right? This bullish order block, the last bearish candle before a move up that broke structure. So we can see the pin of that move, of that order block, and then a bullish move, this move. Yeah. So I'm still bearish on Bitcoin. I'll still want it to hit this area, especially last month's low. That one. That's an area of interest for me on Bitcoin. Once we get here, then we could probably now see a continuation of the bullish move. GBP AUD, we had looked at this projection, and on Monday, this was a request from someone who attends the mentorship class at the 11 to 12 a.m. at 11 to 12 p.m. class, right? And by the way, we are shifting that class. If you've been attending our our mentorship class, we are shifting that class from February. So we'll be starting at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. to 10 to 11, so that after 11 you guys are able to join Market Snapshot. So yeah, we can see the three areas I had mapped out as possible exit areas. So one of the areas was hit, this one, and there was that bearish move on GBP AUD. So where is GBP AUD coming to? If we go to our left, this is what you call technical analysis. There is another block here. See this candle over here. $98.11. Yeah, that's a high probability buy area on this particular pair. So if GBP AUD gets there, we could see some possible buyers stepping in. Yeah, so I'm still bearish on this one to that low. Last year's low also is a possibility, 95, 91, but that's more of a swing trade, right? Yeah. So intraday, we could see GBP AUD go to those lows. maybe for now we could see a bullish move before a continuation of the sell. Okay, let's finalize with Euro USD. What are we looking at on Euro USD? A bearish move. The target remains this one, last month's high. That right there is an area of interest. But for now, let's see how Euro USD behaves once we get to this moving average. Maybe, yeah, somewhere around there. 1976, sorry, 1676. So you could see a bearish move to that area. And then from there, we could see a bullish move to that target. So your take profit one could probably be here on yesterday's high. Yeah, that's a possible area where you could secure your take profits. Yeah, so that's the projection on Euro USD. So we just covered GBP USD, UT100, USD CHF, gold, USD JPY, NZD USD, Bitcoin, GBP AUD, and Euro USD. So let me have a look at your feedback. What would you want me to look at? Okay, let me see. I don't see the question, so I think what's the correlation between dollar and Nasdaq? Thomas, good question. So you really need to understand that Nasdaq is an index first, right? It's a basket of tech companies, Microsoft, Apple, name them, Zoom, and all that, right? So when there's, let's say, when there's demand for the dollar, right? People are requesting for the dollar, right? So that presents an opportunity because in some cases, these guys are coming to invest to the Nasdaq, right? There are guys, investors out there who are like, hey, I want to trade in Microsoft, I want to trade in Apple, I want to trade in all these. So when the dollar strengthens, then Nasdaq picks up. Don, I've already done the analysis on USD JPY. Kindly have a look at that analysis that I have done. Right. Which stocks would you want us to look at? Invest in masterclass. Yeah, I've talked about bond yields, especially the Japanese market. That is the market currently that is facing a lot of hits, and there's a whole conversation around the sustainability of the current yields on the Japanese bond market. Right? How will the Japanese government fund some of these things? Because remember, a bond is like a loan. this is the government coming and saying, hey, we want to raise funds to do something, right? We want to build roads. We want, like in Kenya, most of us are aware of infrastructural bonds. The government floats it as a way of raising capital to invest, let's say, in roads and all that, right? But they need to pay that money. So how do you pay it? So the yields in Japan have hit an all-time high, and that has created an issue. I've already talked about cryptos, and the headline is of course BTC, and kindly have just have a look at the analysis we've done on BTC. Any other question? Mengele, you have talked about gold. Yes, Willie. I've already analyzed gold. I've done gold. So you can just have a look at the video and see the projection. Basically, I've just said gold is a buy. Where as long as we are still in this uncertainty, we're like, we really don't understand what is playing out. And remember, we just looked at the economic calendar and we've said that Trump will be speaking in the Davos meetup, right? And whatever he says could affect the markets, right? So with that uncertainty, everyone is pushing their money to gold. But at some point in time, we'll need to close this gap on gold. This gap will need to be closed. But remember, we still have a gap from 2023. Yeah, October 2023, we still have a gap that has never closed. So that shouldn't be your strategy. The closing of a gap should not be your strategy. Yeah, this gap, 2 years down the line, going to 3, we are here to close it. So it's all about the volatility in the market. So you can see like this one, there was a gap on gold that closed almost immediately. This one, when was this? April, I think last year. So a gap formed and then it was closed same day. Right, so most gaps on gold have been closed on the same day. But for that 2023 gap, this one was closed later. You can see this gap. It was eventually closed by this move. How many days later? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 trading days later. So don't be surprised if gold continues buying, and then at some point in time, it will come down and close that gap from Monday. I think that's it on the gaps. Do we have any other gap on gold? Yeah, any other question? Nimeingia late. Yeah, okay. Yeah, handle that. So you're still bullish on gold. Do you offer mentorship program? Yes, free classes. Mentorship classes are ongoing from 11 to 12 p.m. Right, but we are shifting those classes to 10 to 11. Just go to there's a link below this video, learn to trade. Right, go to that link, select the morning class. The morning class. That's the class that is all about mentorship. If you're interested in beginner's class, if you're a beginner, then you might want to attend the evening class, 8 to 9 p.m. How about GBP JPY? We've not analyzed that. Let's have a look at it. GJ. Okay, always go to higher time frames to have a clear understanding of what the market is doing. Look at yesterday's low. So most of the moves on GJ, just like we've seen on USDJPY, are as a result of the weak yen, right? So ideally, we had looked at a possible bullish move before a bearish move. So this doesn't stop USDJPY from dropping. So the best trade with a good risk to reward will be the sell move. So this bullish move is just giving us an opportunity to enter a sell at a cheaper price. That's what we are looking at. So let's go now to GJ. GJ, if we wanted to enter this trade, probably let's map out some key areas. That's your assignment as a trader. You just need to map out areas with buyers, sellers. So in our case, I want us to look at some possible sellers. So this could be an area of interest when the market starts going up on GJ. That's another block that needs to be tested. Yesterday's high. So probably we could see a bullish move. And then maybe later we could see that drop. At least that's where I would want to see GBP JPY go to. Any other question? Let's finalize with Euro Audi. We're going to higher time frames. Okay. On the daily, we have something called the monthly low. That's an area where we have some strong support on Euro Audi. We also have last week's low. It is yet to be tested. So if I were to look for opportunities on this one, I'll probably be looking at that sell. And a possible drop all the way to 62.32. That's it, guys. Thank you for your time. Make sure that you join the free classes. We'll be having a webinar. Visit our social media handles for more on that, where we'll be discussing 2026 opportunities, right? Everything is on the FXPesa social media handles. Bye-bye.